Hi, my name is Lucas Silva. I am a PhD candidate at the University of California, Irvine, and I'm happy to be presenting our paper titled Co-Designing Situated Displays for Family Co-Regulation with ADHD Children. As part of the motivation for our work, previous research in family informatics has sought to use family tracking towards greater awareness between members about their health indicators and related behaviors. This has often been done through data dashboards and typically parents' devices, like through apps on their phones. Tracking of behaviors, for example, through smartwatches, has also shown to be helpful in mediating collaboration for children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD, given that they might have challenges related to behavior regulation around goals and emotions, for example. Now, situated displays in the home could be a place for families to share and review their data together. These devices have become more common, like the Amazon Echo Show or Google Nest display, and there is growing attention in how to design these systems to show personal tracking data. However, we still have limited understanding of how families envision the potential of these systems in the home to help them share their health tracking data, but also to move from awareness towards helping coordinate actionable support. With that motivation in mind, our paper addresses the following research question. How do families envision home displays to support collaboration for well-being, especially for those with behavior regulation challenges like ADHD? To answer that research question, we did a co-design study with 8 families that have ADHD children between 8 and 15 years old, so 15 parents and 8 children. Part of the study was conducted still under the pandemic restrictions, and we did 3 remote co-design sessions with each family. Prior to the co-design sessions, we asked children to use a smartwatch for at least 4 weeks to gain experience with self-tracking and stimulate families in envisioning opportunities for sharing and using tracking data for collaborative behavior regulation or co-regulation. In the first session, we did a fun activity of creating digital creatures with a digital whiteboard and designing different mood representations. The goal for this first session was really to provide opportunities for the families to become more comfortable with the digital tool and the co-design process overall. It was also useful to discuss moods and mood representations. In the second session, we co-designed situated displays to visualize and use family mood data. We offered some initial components and a tablet mock-up, and then families co-designed how they would want to see their data and representation there. The goal for this session was to understand how families imagine opportunities to use their daily track moods, given the overall importance of emotion regulation and ADHD challenges in this domain more specifically. And the final session was similar to the previous one. It was focused first on family exercise tracking, which is related to overall health, but also hyperactivity. And part of the session was also focused on tracking goals or tasks, which is also an important domain for family functioning, and more specifically for challenges around ADHD. I will now summarize our main findings on how families wish for situated displays to support their collaborative regulation given family tracked data. First, families mentioned that given their hectic lives, they would benefit from active nudges to come together and use a situated display to review data together and then make family time useful towards their data-driven collaboration. For example, P1 explained if the display is designed in a way that we are reminded, we can review what happened together. It's a solution that is data-driven. Families also envisioned that the display would be useful in these joint moments if using the reflection on shared data to stimulate problem-solving time to address challenges that happen in the day, but also for learning skills and constructing resolutions. We observed several skills and practices families wish to use a display for, such as around family values, behavior regulation, evaluating progress of efforts, and normalizing discussion of each other's emotions. As an example, emotion socialization was a big emphasis for the families. Beyond just being aware of each other's emotions, families envisioned getting support to actively discuss and help each other manage their feelings, as well as deal with the root of any emotion-related issues. For example, P4 said about his son, he is a good kid, but when he gets frustrated, he doesn't really talk about that. The display would be helpful if it promoted conversations like, around 9 o'clock, looks like you were frustrated. What do you think happened? But this wasn't exclusive to children, and parents could also benefit from emotion socialization support. For example, C8 said, parents sometimes just say they are fine, but they aren't. Dad, there was this one time I asked you, and you said fine, but I don't think you were. Despite a main expectation for using situated displays for family time, participants also designed use cases for a display that would support them individually. For example, parents described wanting to spend time with the display to explore children's data granularly and to identify potential health and behavior risks. Like P2 that said, I want super granular data and be able to study it, or if the app was able to pick up on a trend. Parents typically wanted to do this by themselves or together with a partner or spouse. Some parents also speculated that external experts, like clinicians, could perhaps send suggestions for family action through these types of systems. Like P1 that said, it could be for working with a therapist, like a plan for things to think about and things to help the children. And children also envision using the display by themselves. They explain how they would want to look at their sibling and parents' data and maybe see how they could be of help to other family members. For example, C2 said you could select a parent if they have yellow or red moods a lot. It shows something you can do with your parent for them to feel better, like this. And then he typed in the mockup, give a hug. A challenge here is that children vary in their data interpretation skills and might need systems to help guide on how to interpret the data or give suggestions on what could be done about the data. For example, some children were more keen towards graphs and timelines, like C4 in this top image that has bar graphs for the day and the week, whereas others were more focused on fun characters that could offer explanations and suggestions on what to do. For example, C2 here that created a chatbot that explained his exercise and also made jokes. Moving on from what we learned in this project, our paper discusses some design opportunities and directions for situated displays to better support families. First, we see the opportunity for these types of systems to help families make joint time useful and fruitful. This could be in the form of notifications for families to come together when needed, as indicated in the data, and perhaps guiding them to use the data together for co-regulation and skill building during family time. Second, there is opportunity to help support parents in their role individually. This could perhaps be done by providing access to granular data navigation, also support for health analytics. There's also the opportunity to involve external experts in helping around planning for actions to take, but also understanding the data. And finally, there are opportunities to support children individually in using personal and family data through these situated displays. There's a need to consider designing for differences in data interpretation skills, as well as opportunities to provide guidance and suggestions on what children can do with the data in support of others, but also for their own self-regulation. We've reached the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening, and please don't hesitate to get in touch.